Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good week. Welcome to our Wednesday News Hour, where we hear from social entrepreneurs and their teams from around the world about salient topics and solutions. My name is Abby Mapua. I'm Country Director of Ashoka Philippines. Yes, I'm dialing in from Manila, Philippines. We're thrilled to have many of you joining today from Ashoka's global community, and also a big welcome to friends and partners from various parts of the world. Today, we will be speaking with Silverius Ungul, who we fondly called Onte. And the topic of our conversation today is turning illegal loggers into champions of sustainable forestry. But before we get started, just a few housekeeping points. We will also be dropping this information in the chat, so no worries if you miss it. First, we would love to hear from you. Feel free to drop in your questions. Just click on the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. We'll get to as many questions as we can towards the second half. For those who will be needing captioning, you could select the three dots at the bottom corner of the Zoom screen that says More, and then you could choose Show Subtitles. And if you want to activate the interpretation function, click on Interpretation and select the language you would like to hear. Okay, so that's it for housekeeping. I would love to introduce today's guest. Onte, who is joining us from Jakarta, Indonesia, is both an Ashoka Fellow and a SCOL Fellow. He is the co-founder of Telepac. Onte and his team have created community-based, data-driven model for sustainable forestry that is literally transforming Indonesia's landscape. In partnership with communities and businesses, Telepac is making sustainability a viable alternative for, take note, former illegal loggers across 27 Indonesian provinces. Amazing work, Onte. Hi there, Onte.
Hello, Abby. Hi, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for gracing Welcome Change. Onte, I will go right into it. I am sure many are super curious about Telepac. But before we dive into that, maybe you could share with us your personal story, perhaps the reason and inspiration to the founding of Telepac. This should give us a good picture of the context of forestry in Indonesia.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Abby. Everyone, hello. And Indonesia, I think, our big country, with so many islands. We are the second largest rainforest in the world, but also we have so many problems in the past about the forest. And if you ask me about the personal journey, I think I start as a natural lovers in university, and yeah, since I'm very young and as natural lovers, every time we go to hiking to the mountain or something like that. And in my homeland and my city in Southeast Sulawesi, in Kendari, so there are very friendly people. So if we go to the mountain, every time we pass the latest village before climb, the people there is very kind. They serve us with delicious food and fish from the river or meat from the forest. Oh, very happy. And then as a student, we think, wow, it's good, because it's good for us. So we are like a witness. So when the forest is good there, they are very kind and serve us with delicious food from the forest. But when the illegal logging come, and then the forests are gone, at the first time, I think we are not worried about the forest, but first we worry about the people, because we saw by our own eyes, when the forests are gone, the people suffering. No more fish from the river, no more made from the forest. And then suddenly they are going to the city as a worker. So, and then we think, oh, what can we help them? What can we help them? Because we know this is a very good, very kind people, and not their blame, not their fault. The situation, their fault like this, yeah. So and then we think, okay, what can we do? And then we think, oh yeah, we only know like investigation, advocacy, like that. So we try to start small, and then we advocate, and then we want to show people in the city, not these people destroy the forest, but somebody else, rich people from the city come, and then we collect the data we want to advocate. But at the time, Suharto era in Indonesia, the government very repressive. So the data, the media didn't want to put our data, yeah. And then we think, oh, this is good data, but no one more want to put. What can we do? And we think, oh, we build our own media. And then at the time we built our radio station first, and then we put all data there. The radio station name is Voice of Nature, but in bahasa Indonesia Suara Alam, Voice of Nature. But people say Suara Ayam. Suara Ayam means voice of kitchen. Chicken.
Oh, chicken.
Chicken. Because the studio is very simple, no studio, only like simple radio station, and the antenna we put in the trees, and then every year higher, but no problem, because we continue to give announcement about our finding, and then after build radio station, we think, or if we can build radio station, we can also build television station. So in 2000, we built our first television station running by the community in our city. So this television station also very simple, but for us is no problem with the equipment. The very important is the content. So we built this television station only like facilitating people. Everyone who have a video, please come and put your video in our television station. That's Abi we thinking about. If we stay in Cupertino, maybe we are the founder of YouTube, because the idea of YouTube is same with
exactly the same.
Exactly the same. But that is the situation. So because this is we are like a witness, and then we know, so we try to start like that. So this is we going with our heart. So because we know exactly what happened. Yeah, like that.
Thank you.
Process. Yeah.
Thank you, Onte. I mean, it's so refreshing to find out that it all started. The burden started when you were a young person, as you say, a university student, and it's all heart, it's all emotion for the kind people who has been welcoming you into their community, into their forest. And it was also interesting to note, as you mentioned, if you were in Cupertino, you'd probably be you too. You leveraged on media and communications to actually share the data that you have. Super interesting. Now, Ante, I believe everyone here in the audience or our listeners are now super curious on what is Telepac and how does it actually work in practice. In the introduction, we talked about you working with illegal loggers. We're curious about how does Telepac transform an illegal logger, right? What is like the journey of that person through Telepac?
So we start mostly of Telepac members is like me, start from young, and we are the natural lovers from the university, and basically we start with our own organization to different city, and Telepac itself by our friend in Bogor, they built Telepac as foundation at the first time, but in 2002 we meet, all people come together, and then we think, let makes not foundation but association of the people. So we built
Right.
Talapak Association in 2002, and we are the co-founder there. And then Talapak doing, like we say, we start with the campaign, including build the media at the time.
Right.
But we know exactly after the good campaign, if we are only doing campaign, we think is the change in the ground is very slow, because advocacy is important, of course, but we need example, we need a solution, because people doing illegal logging because they have no choice. People come to them and ask them to do illegal, and they give them money. So for people with no choice, they will do illegal logging, not because they want, but that is the only choose. Come. And then we think, okay, we're still doing the advocacy, but let's doing something with the illegal loggers. Can we ask them to change from illegal to be sustainable forest management? This is funny story too, Abi, because like young people, we think this is easy, and then we come to them, and then we say, "Sir, I'm so sorry, not good to do illegal, but we can do this sustainable with green wood. Maybe the green wood will have a good price when we meet them, And then they ask they ask us, okay. The first question they ask is, how about price? Price. So people want to know price if you have green wood. At the time, because there are no example, we are the first time, and then we think, we hear the price will be good. Oh, if good, okay, let's do it. How can we do that? So we must manage our forest. You cannot cut the small trees, only the big one. If you cut one, you must replanting 10. You cannot cut trees in the slope. You cannot cut trees in the river. And then they say, oh, it's very difficult. Oh, it is very difficult. And then we say, but sir, this is important. No. The very important for us is how to feed our families.
Families.
And then we say, but sir, this is prohibited. This is cannot. And then they say, hey, if you prohibit us to cut the trees, we will cut you. So very scary, in the beginning. So because for them this is easy money, and you come like angel. No, you cannot. And we think, okay, we fail to ask them to do like this if we only talking. What we do is we follow them as an illegal loggers.
Okay.
So we want to win their heart by follow them as illegal loggers. So we go to the forest, run from the police, and everything we do as illegal loggers. But I think that is the good. After many days and week together, and then we can talk with them in the middle of the forest, talking about their dreams, talking about their families, and we can transform them, because I think we can recognize the dream. I think, Abi, everybody, including us, we will move if we have dreams. So I think that's the start. That is the story. Start the game.
Oh, Onte, I'm learning so much from you. I mean, it's normally when we talk about empathy, it's very much as a concept and as a theory. But when I hear your story, I mean, you lived it, you practice it. I mean, this whole practice of winning their heart and their trust, following them, and making sure you understand their dreams and aspirations. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now I know that Talapak has a very unique business model behind all of this, and this is something that you actually call social conglomeration. Could you tell us more about what is social conglomeration in the business model of Telepac?
Yeah. So we learn by process, Ami. So when we can change, we can transform the illegal logging to do sustainable. We built the organization by cooperative. Yeah, we make them have a cooperative of illegal loggers, one in Southeast Sulawesi, and then we apply FSC, Forest Stewardship Stewardship Council. Yeah. So this is sustainable one. We got the FSC certificate the first time in 2005, and then we're replicating the process to Java. And in 2008, we have the others FSC certificate with the small cooperative in Java, small cooperative in Sulawesi. But after that, we learn like this. Maybe this is good for as a project, because for project, for the funding, it's good. Oh, complete FSC certificate there, you can sell the wood. There, you sell the wood. But we saw this is not effective because the certificate itself is very expensive.
Right.
And this small cooperative is not achieve the economic of scale to pay the certificate by themselves. Yeah, after the program is closed. So we think it's not good. Yeah, and then small, you have cooperative there, small, cooperative there, small. And then the marketing is difficult because between us, we compare, we are not working together. So, and then we think, okay, maybe this model is wrong. And then we build one company, the limited company, but the shareholder of this company is the cooperative of people. And then we invite the private sector who have the same vision to come as a shareholder. So we have one cooperative, one company, but the shareholder is all the cooperative. And then the FSC certificate is not belong the cooperative, but belongs of this company. And we doing like as a group certification. So group certification more efficient for us, more efficient, and then we can replicating fast. And the marketing aspect, now we have one doors for marketing. Yeah, and then we have economic of scale, and then we have a good beginning position. That is the situation. So this company, the shareholder is the cooperative. That's why we say this is the cooperative. The farmers in our system is not only stakeholders, but also shareholders. So we want to replicating this from forestry to agriculture to marine, and then something like that. If we can collaborate all this, I think we will have businesses from A to Z, but not belongs on or one or two rich people, but belongs of million of farmers or million of fishermen. That's why we call it, this is social conglomeration, because together we build businesses.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, it reminds me of this whole in nature mutualism behavior, right? So thank you, Ante. I'm also just a few more questions. With your work right now, maybe you could share with us like updates of your work right now, what is happening with Telepac and with you as well. And then also, like, you know, what are you optimistic about in the future of forestry in Indonesia and maybe even in the region?
I think we do believe with the system, which is farmer is not only stakeholders but also shareholders. They will have a decision to make what they want to do with their forest and everything. We do believe this is will equal and then will good, and we can replicating to others part, yeah, and other community. So we envision Indonesia will be more sustainable, more inclusive, yeah, more equity, because of the system, the business model. So, and yeah, I think after long walk, yeah, the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry choose me as a vice chairman for forestry and environment. And this is the first time social entrepreneur in that position. I think this is the recognition of our work. Now I think businesses change, the government change, yeah, market change, and people are more sustainable, more inclusive, more equity, equal, and then I think our business model like example. That's why maybe they want me to leading the Indonesian commerce and Indonesia industry, so especially in forestry and environment, maybe to do this, to do inclusivity and to do collaboration. I think this is good for us now.
Most definitely, congratulations, Onte. This is a breakthrough. As you say, it's the first time, right? Somebody not from government nor private sector to actually be part of the chamber of commerce and industry. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Onte, yeah, and Onte, I will ask maybe one or two questions from the audience, right? So,
yes.
So the first question is, how do you ensure that the business part of your work will support the social mission of Telepac? The business part of your work will support the social mission of Telepac. Sometimes it can be, it can run against each other, but how do you ensure that it will be consistent?
I think we cannot separate the social mission of Telepac and business of Telepac, because the business of Telepac is a social mission of Telepac, because we do businesses for equity, for sustainability. That is exactly social mission of Telepac. We want to promote equity, equality, equal in natural resource management, and we want to promote sustainability, and our business is sustainability. So there are no different. Telepac only doing businesses with the social mission, completely same. So we are not separate. All our businesses is the way to achieve our social mission.
Social mission. Absolutely agree. So this is a connected question, Onte. What is the legal structure of the company, of the social conglomeration? Is it for profit, non-profit, enterprise, or some other hybrid?
Okay, so Telepac itself is the non-profit. Telepac itself is non-profit. But Telepac have a cooperative of Telepac, and cooperative of Telepac, same members, yeah. Telepac members have also member of cooperative Telepac, and the cooperative Telepac is the shareholders in the company. So the company who doing sustainable forestry is the company. This is the private businesses, but the shareholder of this private company is the cooperative of farmers, also cooperative of Telepac. So in this company, we are full private company, but we do business with the social mission, inclusive, sustainable, and all the Telepac share from the Telepac cooperative will be like Telepac members, because we are association of people. Telepac members will give the organization fund, but individually, me give Telepac. We are like Asoka have a supporter,
right?
Like that.
Agree. Okay. So you talked about how you want to scale to go beyond forestry to actually go into fishing, to farming, right? And then energy as well. So there's a question in terms of, why do you think other industries are not following this model? Like or maybe it has been scaling already, Honte. So what are the challenges for them? Why other organizations are not replicating yet the model of Telepac and the social conglomeration?
Yeah, so because they are very, very difficult work in social investment. Yeah. So because our model, we have Telapak as a non-profit to do social investment first, build the cooperative, build the common dream and everything first. After the cooperative already, and then the company will follow. The company will doing the businesses, and the Telapak as a non-profit will go to the other place, and again doing the social investment or build the cooperative like that, and then the company will do. So the many organization maybe we have a good work, but we fail to build like a business model, I think, how to achieve the economic of scale, because sometimes we are happy with the small good, but sometimes it's not enough for economic of scale, because I think we must thinking about economic of scale because we thinking about the sustainability, right? So that is the difficult part, how to make sure people want to collaborating between this together, and then we have economic of scale. Abi, I'm sorry to say, sometimes we are the social entrepreneur. It's very difficult to collaborating. We have our own ego, right?
Right.
Sometimes we saw, the government or the company have ego, but also sometimes we are the biggest one. So this is maybe our challenges together. But I think if we come together, we are strong.
Right.
That's what I want to say. See.
Spot on, Onte. Earlier this morning, well, it's evening for us in Southeast Asia. I had a conversation with my teammates. We had an event, and one of our teammates actually talked about one very good quality of change makers and social entrepreneurs. Ideally, should be to leave your ego at the doorstep.
Yeah. Right? Yes, that's right.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just mindful of the time, but I also want to make sure perhaps there's one more space for one more question on day. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
No
so this is the last question I'm gonna ask from the audience. They're curious about what is the land ownership rights in forest ecosystems where you work, or at least where Telepac is found, situated. We think that this is of utmost importance. If land is owned by a multinational or a large business, then the locals will not have rights to it. It will have adverse incentives for sustainable forestry. So they're just curious about the context of ownership of land.
So when we start in private owned land. So mostly the farmer in Indonesia, they have their own land, small. But what we do is, collect them as a one cooperative. So we have a big land. We start with that. But now I think there are opportunity to Indonesia to have permit to manage state-owned land. Because now the government of Indonesia give people opportunity to do social forestry, with the permit, legal permit from the government. So the government of Indonesia will give 12.7 million hectares of land for the people in social forestry. Now with our system, but this is I want to say too, the social forestry IDE is launching in our cooperative of illegal loggers in 2002, I think.
Right.
I think maybe I'm wrong, but maybe our government inspired by our illegal logging cooperative, and then they see, the people can do the sustainable way. That's why government want to give the land of the government to the people. So we start with private owned land, but now we do in state-owned forest.
Wonderful, wonderful.
We in the race with the big company,
big private companies and big private lands.
So we in the race,
head on with them. and I think it's worth mentioning also, Onte, congratulations. I know that in the recent news, Indonesia has actually radically decreased its rate of deforestation. I would like to believe it's part of, you're part of those efforts, right? So I hope you don't mind as well. I mean, just last question from me. I'm just, COP26 is coming up. So what are your thoughts that needs to happen in COP26? Perhaps your thoughts on COP26 and what do you think should be happening?
Of course, we have. I will go to the COP26, but now I will go. Of course, as a telapak, but I will lead Indonesian Indonesian Chambers of Commerce to go there. So I will speaking as a social entrepreneur, also as an Indonesian commerce. But we really hope together we can have a good understanding about COP, about the NDC, about the decarbonisation and everything. I'm eager to know what is the international consensus there.
Right.
We hope our Earth will be good, like that.
Right.
So
right. For sure, and all the best on your trip to the COP26 and the whole delegation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Onte. So it's it's already we're 3 minutes past 30 minutes. But thank you so much. And to wrap up, everyone will be sending you a follow-up email containing the link to this conversation with Onte. Perhaps you want to browse through it or share it with your friends and colleagues who have missed today's Welcome Change. So do look out for that in your inbox. For Welcome Change next week, we will be talking about reframing debt in the US from something personal and shameful to something that could be systemic and to be scrutinized. And that is indeed a Welcome Change conversation. So if you want to sign up for that, I believe we have placed the link in the chat. So go check it out. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again at Welcome Change. We are a weekly series about the future we want to live in and the role we all actively play. So happy midweek, everyone, and see you next Wednesday. Onte, many thanks.
Thank you, Abby.